Here comes Hope. Sorry about that.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Community Action's 55th annual meeting. The turnout this morning is a testament to how Community Action impacts the lives of over 10,000 households in Stratford County each year. We are here today to honor the work of the volunteers that make a difference every day for the individuals and families experiencing low income. And we're also here today to celebrate our community champion and our mission award winner, who will remain secret until the awards portion of today's meeting. I'm pleased to have several county and state officials joining us today. We appreciate your service, and we are honored that you are here with us today. We're honored to have representatives from Senator Shaheen's office and Senator Hassan's office, and they will each make brief remarks on behalf of the senators. We'll hear from Madison Lightfoot, who is with Senator Shaheen's office, and from Ashley Mata, who is with Senator Hassan's office. So hopefully now we're going to switch to Madison and then Ashley, who are going to read letters from our senators that they'd like to share.
So Madison, just to jump in, if you should have gotten notification, you can share your camera and microphone and you'll join Hope up here. Okay, looks like Madison's having some connection issues, so we can jump over to Ashley.
Good morning, everyone. Well, the senator couldn't be here herself this morning because she's down in DC working on hopefully another relief package. I am excited to be calling in from Rochester this morning and seeing some of my neighbors. So I have a letter from Senator Hassan to share. She sends, "Dear friends, I regret that I cannot be with you this morning to celebrate the 55th annual meeting of the Community Action Partnership of Stratford County. But thank you for the incredibly important work that you have done this past year and in years past. The COVID-19 pandemic has created unprecedented challenges in communities across our country. The Community Action Partnership of Stratford County has worked hard to meet the needs of communities throughout Stratford County and get people the support that they need. New Hampshire is an all-hands-on-deck state where we roll up our sleeves, pitch in, and work together to improve our communities. That spirit is evident in the work of this organization. Congratulations to this year's winners of the Community Champion and Mission Awards. I look forward to continuing to work with you and with the Community Action Partnership to support Granite-Staters facing hardship. With every good wish, Margaret Wood Hassan, United States Senator."
Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Okay, so it looks like Madison's having some connection issues, so we will see if we can get the letter from her and have someone read it, but Hope, I think otherwise we can progress forward.
Sure. So I'd just like to share with everyone just briefly, I've been on the board here at CAP for about 5 years. And during that time, I've learned about the many many programs that CAP has. And these are all programs that help people meet their basic needs, like food and education, childcare, housing assistance, and we can't forget the senior van. But what I remember the most over all of the board meetings and all of the CAP events that I've attended are the stories that I've heard about how CAP has helped people and how other people have even helped CAP. So I wanted to share just a couple of those with you this morning. I remember sitting at a board meeting several years ago, and I was sitting next to Doug Serena, who, for those of you who don't know Doug, he was our finance director for many years, and he was also last year's Mission Award winner. And Doug came to the meeting and sat down and was telling us about a donation that CAP had just received for our fuel assistance program. And what had struck him about this was that the woman who sent the donation had also included a note. And the note explained that she was really happy to be in a position where she could make a donation like this, because she went on to explain that years earlier, she herself had needed assistance. And she remembered how much CAP's assistance had meant to her. And she was hopeful to do that for somebody else. More recently, and it was either this past spring or summer with COVID, obviously time seems to have taken on a new meaning, but I remember being told about a gentleman who walked into CAP's offices and handed them his stimulus check, and he wanted to donate it to CAP because, as he explained, he was doing okay, but he knew there were others that weren't, and that he knew that CAP would help them and would help them out with this. I could go on and on telling you stories like this, things that I've learned during my time on the board at CAP, the ways that all of the staff and clients and community have helped one another. And that's really what it boils down to, is that CAP helps people. It gives people a helping hand. And that's one of the reasons why I love being a part of CAP. And that's one of the reasons why I love this meeting in particular, where we talk about our awards. So I won't share any more stories right now. What I will do is I'd like to introduce Kristen Collins, who is our treasurer of the board for 2020, and she will present our financial report for the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope, and good morning, everyone. I've had the pleasure of serving as the treasurer of Community Action for the past year. In my role, I serve on the executive committee and chair the finance and audit committee. The committee's primary responsibilities are to provide oversight of CAP's financials, preparing for and reviewing the annual financial audit report. As you can see from the annual report and the slide, CAP's revenue is over $11 million a year, which is an increase of $1.5 million from the previous fiscal year. The fiscal year is a calendar year, and the audit is finished in June following the year end. In carrying out these responsibilities, the committee did the following. We've met with the committee and staff to review financial statements and activities to ensure that they are consistent with the policies. We've reviewed with management certain financial policies and procedures. We've obtained a written report from the independent auditor addressing findings and observations occurring during the audit and specifically addressing those matters. We've met with the independent auditor to review that report. We reviewed and discussed with management their response to the independent auditor's management letter. And overall, the committee was satisfied with the independent audit examinations, and we found it was consistent with generally accepted auditing standards and that the financial statements conform with generally accepted accounting principles. And now I would like to introduce Alan Brown, and he is the vice chair of the board of directors, and he will be presenting to you the slate of officers for 2021.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to present the newly elected slate of officers for Community Action Partnership of Stratford County. Normally, we would hold this election here at our annual meeting, but due to COVID, we were not sure if we'd be able to or how we would host this annual meeting. The board made the decision to nominate and elect a slate of officers during our October board meeting so that we could ensure that we met our bylaw requirements. So at this time, I'm pleased to present the officers for 2021. Alan Brown, Chair. Kristen Collins, Vice Chair. Terry Jarvis, Treasurer. Jean Michelow, Secretary. Hope Morrow Flynn, Past Chair. We'd also like to recognize the remaining Board of Directors for Community Action Partnership of Stratford County. I know everybody's going to want to give them a big round of applause, but if we could hold off on that for a little bit until we get to the end. So without further ado, those are Cindy Brown, Dawn Chick, Allison Doro, Petros Lazos, Tom Lavasser, Maureen Staples, Jason Thomas, Marcy Terrio, Kathleen Sarles, and Allie Morris. We'd also like to acknowledge Becky Sherburne. Becky has served on the board of directors for the past 6 years. 2 of those years was as board chair. During her tenure, Community Action Partnership of Stratford County moved to a new building, added the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Grant, started housing programs, and finished 2 strategic plans. Becky is unfortunately unable to join us today due to her work commitments with Wentworth Douglas Hospital and COVID, but we'll be sure to let her know how much we appreciate her and for her tenure and with the care and leadership that she contributed to us. She will surely be missed. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Community Action Partnership of Stratford County's CEO, Betsy Andrews Parker. Betsy, take it away.
Good morning. Hello. Hopefully everyone's able to hear and see us. Thank you, Alan, very much. And congratulations to our board of directors. I always say I have the best board of directors. I think every nonprofit executive talks about how wonderful their leadership is, but I really do feel very blessed with our by board. So thank you. So for those of you, this is a new platform for many of us. And if you want to see the presentation, which you're going to want to see later on in full screen, there's a little like 4 arrows up in the right-hand corner. And if you click on that, you will lose my beautiful face, but get the full screen of our presentation, which may be easier for you to read. So take your pick, sit back, relax. This is going to be a little brief, but just a little bit about where we've done in our impact. So anytime anyone plans for a big anniversary, whether it's a wedding anniversary or a nonprofit, it's 55 years of service. We started off 2020 thinking we'd do something very different for our annual meeting. And of course, COVID hit. So now we said, what's the best way for us to celebrate? Because we did not want to lose this milestone that we had of 55 years of service. And Eli, if you want to hit that next slide for us. I was trying to frame what it is. I, did a little, thank goodness for Google, did a little Google search of what was Stratford County both then and now. And as you can see, of course, we've grown. Our communities are one of the fastest growing communities that we have. We all know about the average median home prices. We know that Stratford County and the Seacoast is actually one of the more expensive places to live. I just read that there were a couple $1 million homes that were sold that really sort of skewed what we have, but we have $1 million homes here in our area. Gas, I remember when gas hit, almost $4 a gallon, but here's where we are with gas. I think that eggs, milk, looking at this, and the reason why I put those things up, gas, milk, eggs, how to buy a home, and the stamp, just because I think the post office needs some love here. But really, those things are the things that we talk about and use every single day. And many of us don't really think about how much it costs for eggs, how much it costs for milk, or how much it costs to buy a home. And that for people that we work with on a daily basis, those are the things that are always the forefront of their mind. If you want to hit the next slide Eli. You know, we couldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for our leaders. If people have been around Stratford County for a while, Romeo St. Laurent, the first picture, was our first executive director. And then Dick Hayes, this is an old picture. He would hate me for putting this up there, but I just sort of love this juxtaposition. When Community Action started in 1965, we had black and white photos. We were just getting into color. We had typewriters. We could smoke in the office, like all those things that you think about. But I've been very fortunate to be part of a very long, a short legacy of some incredible leaders who laid the groundwork of the past 55 years. And we could never have gotten to where we are today if it wasn't for Romeo and Dick Hayes. Next one, Eli. And on that vein, I just wanted to just sort of talk about, what's changed in this time. I love this picture of, this is Ray McGilvery, I think it's Ralph Tor, and they're looking at our first computer that we had at Community Action. I don't even know what kind of computer it is, but the wood paneling sort of gives it away. This is around 1983, 84, from what the pictures were saying. And so I just wanted to put that out because I think when I came, I think I actually found this computer and it may have almost been working in someone's office because way back when, as a nonprofit, you kept all your equipment. If once you got it, you did everything you could to repair it because we really did not have a lot of resources to invest in technology. But this whole thing, DocuSign, that you see next to it, this is like a then and a now. Because of the way the world is changing and because of the changing clientele that we have, the days of just using paper and because of COVID really forced us to look at how we're doing our programs and what we're doing. So this spring, when we realized that COVID was not going to go away, and we've been talking about this for a while, our agency switched to a program. We work with a group called Slalom, based out of Boston, who did an infrastructure assessment and actually did a lot of research to find us the best product. And so we have converted almost all of our programs, applications, both internally administration-wise as well as externally to clients, to this DocuSign platform, which sends clients or users like myself or HR a secure link through their email to be able to complete our applications from the comfort of their own home. And one of the things that we found, and like many of you, I always complain about this, is I don't always work from 8 to 4. I don't have time to do this. Having this feature with DocuSign and also later on with our housing relief program, the number of people who apply and access our materials after hours won't surprise anyone. But again, look at where we came from in 83 to look at now with our virtual platforms. Our team embraces technology and embraces change. And that is one thing that has just been a major change for us in our impact this year of how to reach more clients. Next slide, Eli. Eli's over at another office, switching around. So helping seniors. I love this one too. This is our old senior van. And if you can't see it really well, you want to click on those 4 arrows up on the right-hand side. We used to have all the seniors load themselves into this very hard van. If you've ever climbed into a passenger van like this, you know it's not easy to get in and out of. But we have been helping seniors with rides and accessibility since the 80s. And you can see now, this is our brand new van that we just received. We put thousands and thousands of miles on our vans, and it rides over some pretty rough roads. And you can see how excited I am in the picture to have our van. There's myself, Lauren Berman, and then that was our lovely bus driver who left from Rochester, New York at like 3 o'clock in the morning and drove that van and arrived here with us at 8 o'clock in the morning to give us a brand new van. It has been registered. We are getting it back on the road. We are looking for a new bus driver right now because with COVID, we really couldn't do the vans in a safe way for seniors, but we are getting that program back up. But what this van does for us is it helped us transform during COVID to be able to pivot. Instead of us having seniors ride the van to go to grocery stores, we kind of brought the grocery store to them. So we had shelf-stable food, toilet paper. After about 4 weeks, we had requests for deodorant and dishwashing soap, all the things that you would need after being in your home for 4 weeks. So this van was not just the senior van, it really became a lifeline for us to get people out and about. So we're just really excited that we have a brand new van with air conditioning that works. Eli, next one. And housing. So you heard us talk about how Becky Sherburne was here for 2 strategic plans. The board is identified and the agency is identified thanks to our community needs assessment. And if you fill that out for us this year, we really appreciate it. We just are doing our updated needs assessment, looking at what are the issues impacting our area. So even way back, 17 years ago, senior housing was an issue. And this right here is our groundbreaking that we had of Covered Bridge Manor. And so if you go over to Riverside Rest Home and you look at Riverside and Hyder Hospice, there's a building in between. And that's our project, Covered Bridge Manor. It's a partnership between us. We contract with Dover Housing Authority to do the property management and the screening for clients to come in. Daniel Holt is our senior support person over there. And, what we realized, 15, 17 years ago, a lot of people came into our housing not needing, we had 1 computer for the place. People didn't have internet and Wi-Fi and everybody drove. And that during this time, we've had many of our people age in place. Everyone coming in has a smartphone. They have an iPad given to them by a family member or some other kind of a Kindle or a device. It's really interesting to see how our housing has changed over the years and our needs. So one of the things that we're doing, there's a picture here of Academy Street. Academy Street is a project that we own. It's in our annual report, if you've been able to see it, where we had 5 one-bedroom units. So we are now in the process of converting that. We're working with Resilient Building Group. Data is someplace here, I know, listening right now. We're converting 5 one-bedroom units into 4 two-bedroom units here in Rochester, with one of those being 100% ADA compliant. And this is also being funded with a partnership with New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority. So we'll be able to have, we know that there's a missing link with 2-bedroom apartments in our area, and that we have people who need an extra bedroom because they have 2 people living together or they have at least 1 child. And this rate will be coming online later on this year. Like all things, COVID put away and everything, but we're really excited about this project. We also have Gaffney Home coming up. Gaffney Home is the assisted living that was in Rochester, and that was gifted over to us. We talked about it last year at the meeting. And so we're in the process of, I know the windows have been replaced, the heating system's in there. We're also working with JSA and Resilient on this, and that project will be coming online next spring after we finish Academy. So we really have gone from just thinking about housing 15 years ago to actually having projects in the pipeline. But all of these projects, when we do it, we think about what is energy efficiency. Bob and our weatherized agent has made sure that we've had energy efficiency all over all of our projects. How do we get internet access? What are we doing about smart TVs? Our world is changing, so we are doing things in anticipation of how they will change later on down. And that we also can tell you that housing still remains an issue in Stratford County. Next one, Eli. Thank goodness for Fosters. So look at this clip. This is a clip of one of our original home visitors back when we had our home visiting grant. And I'm going to tell you who it is. I can read it. This is Mrs. Ruth Howland, who was with our Head Start program, and she's visiting with 5-year-old Lee and her mother. And so what's interesting is you can see Mrs. Howland with Lee and her mom, and then over on the right is Deidre with one of our parents and stuff. Our home visiting program fundamentally hasn't changed. The ability to visit people in their homes to see where you are and to see what's going on and to help you with your environment is one of the fundamental parts of our program. But what's changed about the program is how and what it is we're doing and how we're acting. It's no longer just about school readiness. It's about the whole family. It's about getting people ready. We still look at people's dental, medical, and mental health needs. We look at their physical built environment. We look at the whole structure of what it takes, because we know families cannot thrive just on learning alone. We've seen that right now with COVID. So what do they need to be able to support them and get that? And I just love this position of the three, women. God, I would love to go find Lee right now and see where she is. And then what we're doing now. Fundamentally, this work hasn't changed about visiting people, but really what it is we do is so much more intense and so much more gratifying. And a lot of our programs now have a lot of kinship care with grandparents who are serving their families, with aunts and uncles who are taking people in. Like that fundamentally has changed as well because of different fractions here in our county. So our team has put in mental health counselors to be able to help both our team and our clients, as well as we look at the health and nutrition. We have lactation consultants. We have help with access to emergency childcare and respite. So the gamut is very large of what it is that we do here at Community Action. Next slide. And partner with our community as well. Again, this is high school students from Somersworth High School who did a food drive for Community Action. And this is a follow-up with students from CATA who did a food drive just recently for Community Action. And I think the thing, hunger hasn't changed and food insecurity has not changed. You can see by when I talked originally about what the prices of milk and eggs and how we function, we are still seeing that, particularly with COVID right now, is a need in our community. People are underemployed, people who had side gigs who were depending on either bartending or catering or DJing or any of those things that you can think about, lost all that income. One that many people don't think about are people who, own gyms, who on the side worked at track meets and gymnastic meets and judging, all of those things that closed down. So many people were able to keep their job, but their supplemental income was decimated and remains decimated. So we have seen an incredible increase with our need for food here in our area. But what we've also seen is incredible generosity. And I put up the young people here because it truly is that idea of having young people being able to give back in a way that's safe for them, helps not just them with their impact for community, but helps us as well. Next slide, Eli. There we go. And so our reach. So I just wanted to pull out, a lot of people say, like, these stories are great. Is there really a need, Betsy? On and on. So this is just from January 1st of 2020 to December 7th when I did the numbers. So right now, a little over 15,000 unique individuals have accessed Community Action. 15,000 people from Stratford County. These are unduplicated numbers. 52% are women. And I think that's an important fact because we've seen that COVID disproportionately impacted single female heads of households that were in our area, and that's what we're seeing. The other number that I thought, the two numbers that were staggering to me, is that 29% of those people who came to us were between 24 and 44 years old. So if we're trying, think about that. Those are the people who aren't established in their jobs, who have graduated from college, who may be working more in lower wage or lower entry level jobs or service level jobs. 29% of those people who came to us, of those 15,000, were between that age group. And then the next highest population was ages 6 to 14. That is also staggering. Stratford County, we have found out, we have one of the highest percentage of children living in poverty in comparison to New Hampshire. When our needs assessment comes out after the new year, you will see those numbers. And then this isn't surprising to me, but from 6 to 14. What is also a little disconcerting about that is from the ages of 6 to 14 is that you remember not having money, you remember not having food, you remember all those things. And I think that's the thing that we have to go back and think about when people say who is impacted. 6 to 14-year-olds remember that they were poor and couldn't afford things. And then out of those reporting for us, 14% only have an 8th grade education. Our educational system has done wonderful things to make sure that people graduate and we have a high graduation rate, or at least a GED. Our Stratford Adult Learning Center does wonderful things, but we also know that without an education, that it can be a hindrance down the road because people want some basic things. And so that's why when we look at Head Start and our programs for Head Start, we are starting lifelong learners and we're supporting families that maybe didn't have a great experience going to school. So how we support them in getting ready for school is so incredibly important. And then health insurance. 14% of people reported had no health insurance. That meant that they were not qualified for Medicaid and they weren't working on the exchange. And we also know that one small crisis with health can actually send a person down. Our partners at Goodwin and community partners have wonderful programs to help support people who don't have health insurance. And one of the things we do at Community Action is we work to ensure that everyone has a medical home, because if you are in pain for any reason, whether it be dental health or mental health, you can't get to the things you need to do if you don't have that medical support with you. 19% own homes, which shows you the number of people who are truly renters. And that is really scary because one missed rent payment can send you down with an eviction notice. If you have an eviction notice, and you get evicted, it's virtually impossible to obtain housing after that. And so Community Action and our team here does a lot to make sure that to prevent eviction or to help broker between landlords, because once you are evicted, it is very, very hard, particularly in this market, to get back into the housing. And then the other one that's really, really scary is 24% of the people that we served last year are below the federal poverty level. And right there, 12,760 is what a single person lives at the poverty level, and just over 26,000 for a family of four. So 24% of the people who we served last year are living within those levels of the federal poverty level. That is frightening. Think about it. Divide 12,000 by 12, and that is what people are living off of every year. So when we talk about what Community Action is, this is our reach. Eli, the next slide. Very hard to see, but I'll just do this. We tried to find a really great way to show. Rochester is where our biggest service area comes through, with Dover next, and then Somersworth, and then Farmington, and it sort of goes around in this circle. It's interesting because we are seeing the amounts and where people are coming from are really starting to trend the way housing is trending. But then percentage-wise or number of, and this is, as a total, but Farmington actually comes in very close often with Somersworth, and they've been neck and neck. And sometimes more people from Farmington than Somersworth have actually accessed services. The other one too, and again, it's really hard to see, and I apologize for this, is that people think there is no low to moderate income in Lee, Madbury, or Durham. And that is definitely not the case. We still have services that we provide to those folks out in that area. And it's really important that our reach goes very, very wide. Our next slide, Eli. Because now on paper, when I'm seeing that is not a good slide to put up there. All right. And this is also in your annual report, just our impact of what we had last year. The big one too that we had last year was our meal service delivery. Because of COVID, we were able to partner through with the school districts when remote learning. The school districts, it's so hard. We're on a meal reimbursement program that didn't allow service outside of the school hours. And you had to get certified and you had to do a new application, and just like anything. So because we hold the summer meals program contracts, which means we pick up when schools close, we partnered with 5 districts to be able to provide. This is just one little snapshot. It actually ended up being over 100,000 meals that we provided with the school districts. And we still continue to provide that to dinner programs and dinner service here during the pandemic now when school is back in session, because schools were able to get on to those programs. And we cannot thank Senator Shaheen and Hassan enough for helping us with these waivers. When COVID hit, And we in schools were closing, and we knew that some schools closed on May 15th. Our waivers weren't starting, and our program couldn't start until June. We were looking at 3, 4, and 5 weeks of children not being able to access food services. So thanks to the support of our delegation, we were able to get the waiver for Stratford County to start earlier. And I just remember people saying, school doesn't end this soon. Well, it ended soon in Rochester for various reasons, and that we were able in about a week and a half time to get this program up and running, and then keep on the same service delivery that Rochester was doing to provide continuity to families. And it just was a wonderful partnership, but we couldn't have done it without the help of our delegation of going out. And you can see the number of homeless also had increased last year. So next slide, Eli. So just a little bit about, like, when we talk about our impact and responding during a crisis, not only do we do the things that are great, think about that Head Start and senior van and those services we were doing then and doing them now, but the one thing that I am incredibly, incredibly proud of our team, and this will be one of the things I take with me for the rest of my life, is what we were able to do and how we were able to respond when COVID hit. And so we all knew that there were issues that had come up. And so one of those was, like we talked about, housing relief. So the governor had announced a housing relief fund program. So our community action, with the other 4 community actions here in the state, we were the administrators of the housing relief fund. But I'm incredibly proud that our community action were the ones that helped with both the statewide website as well as getting the application online and up. We had a lead role in that. And just for community action in Stratford County, not for the state, but for us, we had over 1,000 people who inquired for help. 1,000 people since July inquired for help. So far, 452 of those applications have been approved and paid. Those other applications either just inquired and didn't want to come through, or they're outstanding and pending right now. But that equates, as of last week, $1.4 million has been awarded out to those 452 applications: rent, mortgage, utilities. So anyone impacted by COVID. Last week, in 3 days, 55 new applications came through. Now, this program ends. We have stopped taking applications on December 18th. And so on December 18th, anyone who's in the queue already out of those 1,000 will still be eligible for support up until December 30th. And right now, there is I know that our delegation, again, is working on a relief package and how to help with the housing crisis going forward, because we know this is not going to end. So our agency is very well positioned to be able to continue those services. I mean, look at that amount. It's staggering. 1.4 is staggering to me. And the other big one is our homeless and winter shelters. Our shelters in our area, we have an amazing support network of shelters. Some of them are here with us today, but because of COVID and having COVID restrictions and keeping everyone safe, it means that they're not able to really pack the people in during really, really cold days to keep everyone healthy. So working with the Tri-City region and the Fidelity Committee to bring in and start an emergency winter shelter. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing about how we got here and what we did. And if you want that, give me a call and we'll talk about it. But I just want to put in here what's been happening since we've opened on November 16th. Here is our average cost. We're up to having people at 7-day stay. Here is our average cost of what it costs to have someone here. So right now, we just know one community in Somersworth, we've had people, we've already saved them over $5,000 in their costs, their community, because they've had their residents here with us. But 123 people have come through in individual intakes, 123. So when people say to you, there isn't that many homeless out there, we haven't even touched upon it, 123. You can see that 32 were referred to shelters. When you come to the shelter, which is at the Garrison Hotel, what we're doing is it's a triage and a first stop. This is not for long-term stay. This is, we're saying, how do we get you to appropriate housing? So 32 people have been referred on to more appropriate housing. I know that we've had people who got referred to Waypoint, who were youth runaways, and we made that connection. We had veterans that came through that we put them through to our veteran program with Harbor Homes. 5 people went to treatment for substance use disorder. 11 people went to a permanent supportive housing program, which means they're moving from homelessness to permanent supportive housing. 1 went to mental health. We found mental health treatment, and then 6 others were referred to Health and Human Services for services, which could be TANF, WIC, any other services. The point of this is, I mean, first of all, a shout out to my incredible team. But the point is that it works. What we're doing works. And if you provide a safe, consistent spot for people to be able to go to access and connect with people, because we have a day program over here, and we have an average of 12 to 15 people a day who are coming to our offices to access computers, connect with people, and connect with services. We're not going to be able to get everyone into a permanent home, but we're going to be able to make an impact. And so that's one of the things, again, that I'm so incredibly proud of our team for, is that we've been able to pivot, I hate using that word, but pivot and respond to the needs of the community, because that's what community action does. And honestly, we couldn't have done that too without an incredibly supportive board. And I'm not just saying this because my board does my review. I'm saying this because when you work for and you're on the board of a nonprofit, and you believe in the mission and you have great systems in place, then you're able to, as a board, to be able to respond to the community and support that work. So this is how we have been able to step in where there were gaps in services, and that's what we did during this past, our past COVID year. So normally I would read the crowd and look for questions and those things, but I can't do that. But what I can do right now, and I'm so excited for, is our champion award. So normally we give a champion award. Oh, here we go. Yep. Normally we give a champion award to an organization or a person that really exemplifies community action and helps us with our mission. And this year it was incredibly hard for us to pick just one. So we decided this year that we were going to salute our entire community. And Eli, you want to roll that video for us? It will come up. This is where I have to, here we go. Oh, so hopefully people can still hear me. This is when all my skills of being a, game show host, it really is my dream. I always say if I'm ever going to leave community action, it's going to be a red carpet host at the Oscars, or I'm going to win the Amazing Race. So we're going to try and figure this out right now with Eli. I hope that everyone was able to toggle around and see some of our friends. The one thing I miss so much is actually seeing people in person. Some of our folks went out yesterday to deliver meals to people, and they had an incredible time, even doing it socially distanced, of seeing people and just connecting with people and just saying hi. It's the one thing that we absolutely miss. Our team has said that when we get back together, they all decided in our staff survey that we wanted to do something like karaoke together, because we miss each other. We miss seeing each other. A lot of our team members are on here today who normally our annual meeting, not everyone's able to come. So we're really excited today to have our team be able to join in from their desks all over. I walked out earlier and I saw them all outside wearing their masks, eating their stuff. And I'm getting that we can do our video now. Here we go. Community action every year. So I've seen that video 3 times, and here's my Kleenex, because every time I see it, it just reminds me of all the work. And like we said, when we rebranded ourselves 7 years ago and we did our name, it was really important for us to put partnership in there, because we can't do this alone. And it's because of partners like our entire community that really, truly helped us do that impact that you saw back on that earlier slide. So for all of our partners out there, I just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. With a socially distance, if I could, I'd hug you, because again, it's because of you that allows us to come to work every single day to be able to do the work that we do. And for us, when it gets really hard, we will replay this video and remind us of the love and support we have in the community. So with that, the next one I'm very excited for as well if you've been coming to our annual meetings, we do a mission award. And our mission award goes to a staff member who is nominated by other people in the agency or even outside who really exemplifies our mission award. And we keep it secret up until now. And we really think this person has no idea they're going to be the mission award winner. So just FYI, when you see the video, you will know exactly why this person's the mission award winner. So Eli, let's see if we can get this one going. Here I am again. All right.
Boy.
So guess what? Here we are. Come on, Lauren. Sharon, thank you for everything that you do. Here are some flowers. Here is your award.
Oh.
It was, listen, we do a lot. Yay, Sharon. We do a lot of great things here every year. But to be able to run down for those of you who can't see, everyone back here was cheering for Sharon, and it's really well deserved, Sharon. We're going to give you 10 seconds to allow me to race down to the other end. So there we go, Sharon. Congratulations, Sharon.
Yes. Yes, Betsy's on Boardwalk, and I am on, Baltic Ave. So she's got to run down to the side of the Monopoly board. I just want to say thank you to the entire team. It's a fabulous agency that I work for, and I definitely couldn't do it without all of the awesome programs that we have and all of the awesome partners that we have. So I just want to thank everybody for that. There are so many deserving people that work here. So I can't believe that I'm the one sitting here with the glass plaque, because it's really everybody that does their due diligence every day to make sure everybody has what they need. So I hope that Betsy's getting ready to come on, because I don't really know what else to say.
Sharon, congratulations. Really, really congratulations. We really appreciate it. And thank you for letting us surprise you by jumping into your office. We do appreciate everything you do for us. Wonderful. All right, and we'll take her off the spotlight. And for those of you too who were able to surprise her, her family actually is also on the call with us. They graciously jumped in right before the meeting started, so Sharon wouldn't toggle over their table to discover that her parents and sister and husband were here. So thank you also to Sharon's family for giving us Sharon, because she's a great asset to our team. So with that, we'll just go. We're almost done. We have like 2 more slides. One more slide. The next slide, Eli, after our mission award, is our next 55 years. So click over to the picture of our lovely Bradley Commons. Our next 55 years that we have, as you can see, we know that we'll be expanding services. Last year, we had a growth of $1 million. This year, we're looking at a projected growth of another $2 million, because really, CAPS is identifying where the needs are, where the gaps are, and how we can be supportive of what's happening in the community. We are almost at the end of our capital campaign. As you know, we started our public phase. We were about $600,000 to go in 2020. We have just a little over $400,000 to go before we can close our capital campaign, which helped us to support Bradley Commons. Our donors and supporters have been incredibly generous, and it's been incredibly helpful to have us, because as we know, as things change and the less that we have to do into our overhead and infrastructure, the more we can put back into programs and have that availability. But one thing I want to say about Bradley Commons, at the time when we embarked on building Bradley Commons, our board chair, Dave Taylor-Mesian, said, you better be careful of what you build. Don't build it to fit your current needs, build it to fit the future. And in the short time, the 3 years we have been here, we have filled all of our gaps. We took over another spot next door, and we were about to lease one more section next door into a lease. We don't have the availability to buy that yet, but we are going to be leasing that up. Because our programs keep expanding and we keep fulfilling the community need, we could not have done this without the support and being in a spot like Bradley Commons. So I just want to thank all the people who have been here and have helped us succeed to get to the spot. And that really, we are $400,000 away from closing out our capital campaign. So thank you to everyone. I just want, I've been here for 10 years. I knew 10 years ago, this was the spot for me to go. I knew that this was my dream job. I could never imagine waking up every day and really coming to a job that I love and doing something in the community that is so impactful. I would hope that if you are inspired by today, obviously write a check, but also join our board, volunteer with us, come work for us. We always have, some opening that we have with our position. Come be part of our team. We're an incredible group of people. There's 160 of us all throughout Stratford County making that difference. And so I would urge you to do stratfordcap.org to find out more information and contact us, and we'll find a way to connect you in. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my new board chair, Alan Brown. And I'm going to get a sip of coffee because that was.
All right. So thank you very much, Betsy. And, before I go on with my thank yous, I just wanted to say that this annual meeting shows the impact that a nonprofit organization can make when they have an engaged board, leadership that can see into the future and see the needs, a staff that works so hard, and a community that embraces them. So I think that, this meeting every year shows what this organization does for the community and how all the parts of it work together. So with that, I want to thank everybody for their time this morning, spending some time with us, learning a little bit more about CAP, and joining us on this virtual annual meeting. Certainly not what we anticipated when this year began. So while this wasn't the usual celebration, I'm just so happy that so many people were able to join today. So before we end the meeting and move on to networking, I wanted to say a few special thank yous. So thank you to Mezzanine Catering for the wonderful breakfast boxes, which hopefully you all enjoyed. I want to also thank the delivery folks that got those boxes out. So thank you to Hope Flynn, Kathy Morrison, Kathy Searles, Marianne Cody, Rick Aubin, and Melissa Sylvie for delivering yesterday. Again, thank you to Becky Sherburne for her time on the board and leadership. And special thank yous to Sarah Varney, the Director of Advancement, and Eli Cobb, Marketing and Event Director, Manager, for coordinating this event and making it such a success. And finally, thank you very much to the staff and for all you do for the community. Thank you to our volunteers and donors that made 2020 a success despite the pandemic. And thank you all for attending again. Happy holidays. And with that, we'll go into our networking. Thank you.